Answering a call to arms, Newcastle fans ensured this match was always going to be a sellout. 24,000 people turned out for the elimination semi, and Alex Brosk stirred up most of them. His was the first in a series of yellow cards, while Milton Rodriguez saw red after what should have been a sure thing.
How did he miss? How on earth did he miss?
The Jets pushed again, but were denied another chance when Sydney quite literally played its hand.
And Joel Griffiths is adamant that should be a spot kick.
Well, he didn't see it. It is definitely a handball.
It wasn't long before Griffiths was appealing again, and with both teams at breaking point, the war of words escalated, with Alex Brosk sent off for his part. Sydney coach Terry Butcher was mad as a meat axe as the theatrics continued well into the break. The Jets' Colombian striker started the second half much like the first.
He's hit it with venom.
But the real sting to Sydney's campaign was yet to come.
Goal, Newcastle! Joel Griffiths with the goal.
The final nail in Sydney's coffin delivered by Matt Thompson and Vaughan Coveney.
That's 2-0, that could be all over.
Sydney tried for that valuable away goal, but the night belonged to the Jets. It wasn't quite the grand final win, but for Newcastle coach Gary Van Egmond, it might as well have been.
Go Jets! Yeah, baby! Yeah!
Outside the sheds, fans provided a rapturous welcome. There they grabbed autographs, and let's face it, there's one signature everyone wants.
Gary's here to stay, mate. Onward next week. Melbourne or Adelaide, I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. We're going to bring the championship home.
In the most unforgiving environments on earth, on the most unlikely pitch, a game of cricket will be played. Purists might question the venue, but not the cause. One charity is the UK-based Lord's Taverners, the other, the Himalayan Trust.
We wanted to leave a legacy in Nepal. That was the charity that was set up by Sir Edmund Hillary to assist Sherpas and the way of life, so that tied in quite nicely with that as well.
Now living in London, 28-year-old Nick Tuvey and his fellow fundraisers have been training with vigour. He's part of Team Tenzing, which will play Team Hillary. Leaving Kathmandu, the group of 50, including medics, players and umpires, will trek for 10 days to the spot stumbled upon by the organiser in 2006.
I came over this peak and dropped down onto this amazing plateau, which to me just resembled a cricket field. Exactly in the same proportion, perfectly flat, and I just wondered whether it would be possible to play a game of cricket there one day.
They've called it the Everest test, and at 5,000 metres above sea level it certainly will be. Those who've been there say the air is so thin it's like breathing through a straw. There's also the threat of altitude sickness and, of course, a game of full format 2020 cricket to play. Everyone going is paying their own way, and Nick's had help from home, albeit with reservation, given he once suffered from chronic asthma.
I asked him not to go, actually, but he just said, I'm going.
Determination necessary on such a mission. Some reassuring words from Mum help too.
Have a good time, stay safe, and for those that won't make it, and some of them won't, you know, you haven't failed. You know, you've done well.
Adam McILRICK, NBN News. In true Chaupu tradition, everything about the Tahitian break is big. Big barrels, big names and, of course, big upsets. Mick Fanning was the first Aussie to go down in round 2, the former world champion beaten by local wildcard Hayari Williams. On a day reserved for the locals, Aussie Phil McDonald was also ousted by a Tahitian wildcard. Three-time world champ Andy Irons almost suffered the same fate, but the Hawaiian only just survived a tough heat against yet another local. All up, 7 Australians were eliminated in the second round of the World Championship Tour event, including Troy Brooks, who had a day to forget. It's an unforgiving break which many found out just surviving these monsters is a win in itself. Adam McILRICK, NBN News. Matt Hall has been with the Air Force for 17 years, most of them spent around fighter jets, and if there's one parallel to be drawn between his old career and new, it's that there's no room for error.
I've been very fortunate in my training in the Air Force and once again flying these types of planes behind me that I have a very deep understanding of risk versus reward and what the ramifications are of stepping over a line that you're not quite ready to accept.
Hall has been pursuing a spot in the Red Bull Air Race series since watching a round in Perth 2 years ago. It's taken that long to work his way on the tour, the first Australian to do so.
Ever since I was probably 10 years old, I was doing aerobatics with my dad in an aircraft just down here at Aero Pelican. And it's something I've become used to that for me it's not stunts, it's just a way of life to go upside down and everything.
Hall has spent about 1,000 hours in the style of plane he'll fly at locations around the globe, in a sport which demands the very most from the world's very best. His young family and the RAF have given their blessing. The challenge now is to find a plane and sponsors to help fund every bit the flight of fancy.
An obvious opportunity for me that if I am going to try something outside of the Air Force, this is a pretty good job to do.
A job which starts next April. Adam McILRICK, NBN News. It wasn't quite This Is Your Life, but trips down memory lane came thick and fast for Danny Badiris, stitched up by former teammates and good friends Mark Hughes and Andrew Johns. A farewell all about fun, as was the case when they played together, lived together.
He's a good corky. He's quite clean these days. He didn't have them traits when he was living with me, but no, there's not much, as I said, no dirt on him at all. We just laughed our way through our footy careers. It was fantastic.
If a packed auditorium wasn't testament to his popularity, this certainly was, showing the esteem he's held in on both sides of the border.
And everyone likes him, and to be honest, so they should. He was a wonderful character and promoted the game of rugby league very well.
Tough, courageous, competitive, loyal.
And humble.
From a bloke, you know, when he first come, had such a wonderful natural shyness about him, he's become a colossus, and I think his career path is a good example for everyone else to follow.
Recollections too of his junior days, like when Mum became involved a bit too much.
Penny comes flying up along the sideline, gets tackled right in front of Chris, and this little kid gouges his eyes, so Chris leans over and smacks the side of the Next week she's up in front of the judiciary.
Badiris will have surgery tomorrow, then another farewell at the Knights game this weekend, but after today it will be hard to top.
I think only a town like Newcastle could do this and support one of their players. So see some childhood heroes here like Wally Lewis and players like that. That's huge. It's massive.
Starting the day at 6 under, Inverell's Brett Druitt had a 2-shot lead in front of Sydney's Denny Ann, who threatened to make up the deficit early. A birdie followed for Ann, then a bogey, while Druitt held par on the front 9 to win what would be his last junior tournament.
Had a good round on Wednesday and it's all clicked, so just pretty happy with that.
The leaders stuck together as Sydney's Jessica No defended her title in the girls' event, doing her international career no harm at all.
After graduating school, I'll be turning pro, playing tour from European or Japan or something like that.
And Charlestown's Jake Higginbottom held out Sydney's Ricky Cato to win the 14 boys. For others, it was a tough day at the office, in more ways than one. Adam McILRICK, NBN News.